The extra burst of speed comes from your fingers, not your wrist. My arm swing is already fast, but adding that finger pressure takes the speed to another level. Today, we'll continue with the backhand drive. So, what is the correct timing for a backhand drive? You should hit it at the peak of the bounce. Can you hit a backhand drive on the rise? Yes, you can, but I don't recommend it. Because hitting on the rise often leads to rushing your contact point. So, as the ball reaches its peak, you should start your forward swing. Don't wait until the peak to make contact. If you do, you're actually still hitting the ball as it's rising. You might feel like you're hitting at the high point, but at the instant of contact, the ball is still rising. That's why you can't generate power. Why do many amateurs lack backhand power? Because they hit the ball at the very end of their forward swing. I start my swing as the ball reaches its peak, and that's how I get maximum power. The ball's incoming momentum combines with your swing to create force. That's why your contact point needs to be closer to your body, before your arm is fully extended. If you only make contact right at the peak, your swing is already 2/3 finished. You're just using the end of your stroke to guide the ball, not generating maximum force. So, be patient. Start your swing as the ball reaches its peak. That's how you achieve true combined force. Next, let's look at the elbow. For the backhand drive, rip, banana flick, or any shot against backspin, the biggest mistake is a moving elbow. Why is my backhand drive so powerful? Because my elbow is stable. You must treat your elbow as a pivot point. This is absolutely critical. Only with a stable elbow pivot can you maximize your forearm swing speed. This generates incredible swing speed. Whether you're doing a rip or a banana flick, that elbow must stay fixed. A lot of players make this mistake on their banana flick. The elbow is loose, and when they try to rip it, they end up pulling the stroke sideways. This results in sideswiping the ball or just pushing, which are all bad habits. To keep the elbow stable, drop your right shoulder slightly. Let your upper arm hang down, so your forearm starts in a slightly lowered position. Your arm will feel sore, I know. But if that elbow moves, your racket angle will become unstable. And it's the same old story, you can land the shot when you hit softly. But the moment you add power, the ball goes long. So, once your elbow is anchored, your forearm should move forward and back. This applies to RPB, reverse penhold backhand, as well. It's the fundamental backhand framework for all strokes, rips, drives, loops, and flicks. You see? The elbow is stationary. Your arm will get sore at first, but you have to push through it. This builds the foundation for generating real power later. So, is there any body action in the backhand drive? Yes, absolutely. For the forehand, you use your hips, legs, and waist to rotate. The backhand is similar, your hips, legs, and waist must all engage together. First, for any backhand stroke, you need to squat and lower your center of gravity, like a horse stance. Second, as you execute the backhand drive, you should thrust your core forward. And your legs should drive into the shot as well. Your body isn't static. This is why so many players have an uncoordinated backhand. If you stay still, you're too stiff. If you move too much, it feels wrong. Coaches tell you, stay stable, don't move, which is confusing. You don't know how to move. The secret is in the coil and release from your core. Your body brings the arm back, and then your body drives the arm forward. See? When you do it continuously, the motion becomes much more coordinated, right? Coil in. Release out. This will make your stroke much more fluid. Your body can't be completely static. Otherwise, your backhand will lack rhythm, and you'll be slow to transition to your forehand. So you must use the backhand to create a body rhythm. Through this coil and thrust tempo, your body stays in motion, allowing you to cover the table better when transitioning. Alright, let's talk about the shoulders. When playing a backhand against topspin, does your center of gravity move up and down? For example, in a rally after your initial loop against backspin, or when you switch from forehand to backhand, is there any vertical movement? There shouldn't be. Watch the pros during a backhand to backhand rally. Not a single one leans back or jumps. Because the moment your center of gravity pops up on a backhand, there's an 80% chance the ball will go long. So no matter what backhand shot you're playing, blocking, driving, ripping, looping, changing direction, punching, or soft blocking, your center of gravity must stay low. No vertical movement at all. The backhand stroke moves from your core outwards. On the forehand, you might save it with a quick arm adjustment, but on the backhand, it's a definite no. So you all must learn to lower and maintain your center of gravity when playing a backhand. This will prevent you from hitting the ball long whenever you try to add power, especially while moving. Of course, there is some vertical movement when looping backspin or playing from mid-distance. I was specifically talking about close to the table topspin rallies. It all depends on your position. For the backhand, should your heels be on the floor or slightly lifted? They should be slightly lifted. Why is that? First, you need to be up and ready. The more you lean forward over the table, the faster your backhand will be. The more you sit back on your heels, the more the ball will pop up, and backhands go long very easily. Many pros get their body high over the ball for a rip to hit its top half. Unlike the forehand, you can't easily close the racket angle when you're high up. So, remember this key point: for a good backhand, don't sit back on your heels. You must lean forward. The second reason for lifting your heels is for better movement and footwork. If your heels are flat on the floor, and the ball goes to your forehand, you have to lift your heel first before you can move. If you're squatting with your heels planted, you're stuck. You have to lift them to move. But if they're already slightly lifted, you can move immediately. Your heels need to be free. Don't lift them too high, just stay on the balls of your feet. This way, you can instantly cover your forehand side. If you're flat-footed, you're stuck. So, during a standard backhand rally, make it a habit to keep your heels slightly lifted. Like I said, you need that rhythm, making small steps with the tempo, so you can cover the forehand side when you need to. Your heels should always feel ready, not flat on the ground, but with a slight bounce, keeping your weight on the balls of your feet. Does the shoulder generate power in a backhand drive? For a basic drive, the shoulder should be stable. For a drive, the shoulder is still. For a rip, it starts to drive forward. And for a backhand punch, the shoulder is a key power source. When you want to generate power, you must first retract your shoulder, just like throwing a punch. Pull back first, then explode forward. It's a retract and thrust motion. Let me demonstrate a few punches for you. The main power comes from my shoulder. Most players can't generate backhand power because they don't use their body correctly. So, like a punch, you have to retract the racket, and then at the peak of the bounce, lock your wrist and use explosive speed to drive through the ball. You'll definitely generate power in your rallies this way. The rip is all about brushing the ball. If you can't execute a proper loop, you won't do a good rip either. So, master the loop first. And for power, always rely on your body, retract and drive with the shoulder. It's a short, explosive burst of power. First, power for the backhand punch comes from the body. Second, you fold your arm in, then snap the forearm out. You need to find that 1-2 rhythm of folding and then snapping out, for both drives and punches. Fold your arm, then punch the ball forward. This technique works for short pips, medium pips, and inverted rubbers alike. For a backhand drive, don't keep your hand too close to your body. But for a punch, you must bring your hand and arm in close. With this compact punch, if it's on the table, your opponent won't have time to react. Honestly, I'm only using 50 to 60% of my power. At the 1800 to 2000 rating level, this backhand punch is unstoppable. It's a sudden, surprise shot that's impossible to defend on the backhand side. After my punch, the ball kicks fast off the table. The opponent can't match the speed. By the time they react, the ball is already jamming them. By lowering your center of gravity, you can also punch low balls, though it's tough against heavy backspin. However, in a typical amateur backhand rally, the ball is perfect for punching. The third key point is your racket head. For a backhand punch, the tip of your racket should point towards 11 o'clock. Don't point it at 9 o'clock, that makes the stroke too rigid. For both penhold and shakehand, aim the racket tip to 11 o'clock. During the punch, the racket head doesn't rotate. If you rotate it, you're brushing the ball, and with power, it will fly off the table. For the punch, whatever your racket angle is on the backswing, maintain that same angle all the way through the shot. Do not rotate the racket head. This is how you transfer all your power directly into the ball. Fourth, you must lock your wrist in a cocked position. From there, drive forward. Keep the wrist locked throughout the backswing and forward motion. You can only generate power with a locked wrist. At the point of contact, your wrist must be firm enough to stop the arm's acceleration. This is called the braking effect. For this braking power to work, the wrist must be locked and firm. If your wrist is loose at all, the ball will fly long. So when the ball comes, tense that wrist and drive forward. After the shot is complete, there should be no extra wrist movement. The sixth and most critical point is your thumb. When I punch, my thumb is applying 80% of the pressure on the blade. Whether you're punching or doing a rip, use your thumb to apply pressure for power. The kick on the second bounce comes from this finger. The extra burst of speed comes from your fingers, not your wrist. My arm swing is already fast, but adding that finger pressure takes the speed to another level. On top of my maximum forearm speed, I add a final push with my thumb, and the overall shot speed increases dramatically. That's why the thumb is so critical. When you punch, the force is directed forward, so the thumb pushes forward. When you brush the ball for a loop, the thumb pushes upward. Also, finger pressure is not the same as squeezing the handle. This is a common mistake. Squeezing is when you suddenly tighten your entire grip. When I say finger pressure for a punch, I mean the thumb pushes forward at the exact moment of contact. This has nothing to do with squeezing the handle. Squeezing is a braking action at the end of your acceleration. If you squeeze too early, you'll kill your swing and make a mistake. So remember, for any shot on your backhand side, you must use your thumb to apply pressure and generate power.